relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
When you sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, nah, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space aliens. I'll save anybody, I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I can be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Kevin. Score 202. Better hear what I've got
To
to say
accept,
because
press
you won't
1.
get it
To
again.
send a
I'm not
voicemail.
an alpha male.
Yo, what up, people? Hold on, Kevin. Give me a minute. I didn't even start the show
Take
yet.
your time.
GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. What up, y'all? Let me get a quick shout out to anybody. Y'all hear me out there? Give me a thumbs up real quick.
I was already on the feed. I heard you fine.
Okay. All right. Yo, brother, got a thing. Thank you for Mr. P. Y'all saved my ass years ago. Big ups from the UK. What up, Co? Give me a thumbs up if y'all hear me good, please, in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Let me just make sure we good, Kev, before we move in, all right?
You cool, man. Do your thing, brother.
Let's see, loud and clear. All right, let's go. Kev, what's up, baby?
Man, a lot of good stuff. A lot of mostly good stuff, man. I gotta say, I've been tuning into your stuff for years, man. When I first found out about Black Phillip, of course, naturally rolled over to, man, I wonder what they're doing nowadays now that Patrice is gone. And I know, it's like, who's the other guy that he was doing the show with? Dante Nero. Let me look him up.
Oh,
And
nice.
Sure enough, bro, you were doing, yeah, man. I've already had a couple of conversations with you. I
Okay.
had some conversations, actually, with Harry, too. And I was in most of my life, I was in a dark place, man, and just all this advice that you guys would give, like, it started to marinate, and it made more sense. And now that, like, I took, like, a really big leap in life, and I moved. I live right now in the suburbs of Chicago.
Nice.
And I just moved back from California. I moved out there for a year in the OC, got really big into my Christianity faith, and I came back out here to Illinois, and man, just everything that you guys had went through, had your advice, the way that I applicate it now, cause now I'm cool, man. I'm not in this deep dark place in my head no more. I'm chilled out. I'm cool. I'm getting females numbers left and right. It's just easy to talk. But the thing is just that, I'm going through this stuff, and it's like, it's easy now to kind of talk to women and stuff like that, and actually get some type of rapport. I'm trying to find the right words to say, but I guess finding somebody that I genuinely want for me. I'm not looking for hookups anymore and stuff like that.
Right.
I genuinely would like a long-term, long-lasting, genuine, marriage.
So let me ask you this: what was your change of heart? What was the thing that was your change of heart?
Man, it was a lot of things, man. But the last thing that really did it for me is that when I finally started to sober up, I was doing lots of I do lots of coke. And honestly, I wasn't even doing lots. I was just doing it very I was doing it very repetitiously, it was small amounts.
Right.
I was smoking a lot of weed at the time. I was drinking alcohol willy-nilly. I wasn't really an alcoholic. I actually don't even like being drunk. I still don't like being drunk. So I'll still have a couple of beers here and there. But I started to sober up, and I started to be around dudes that were doing better than me in life, you
Right.
know? And when I say that, like, they were attaining things in life that I really longed for, like genuine happiness with their partner, like a healthy marriages. Like, I was around people like this, and so I'm starting to be around them and people that were also in dark places in their life too. So I'm like, you know, what is it about me that you guys see? Because I'm not all right in the head, and I go through all these things, and we'd have these deep, in-depth conversations, and what it boiled down to was that I was just, you know, I was living in a mentality of where I was treated as a kid. As a kid, I was, you know, scrawny, white, most of my peers, they, like gang banging and the hip hop music and stuff like that. And you're the skinny, white rocker kid. I was pale. I was just, I was long hair, coloring my hair, like the whole emo thing. Like, I was big into that stuff, and I didn't really have a crowd for me, Like, there were people around, but they weren't. I was different, And so, growing up, I just kind of like was always had this thing, like these ideas in my head that like, yeah, you're messed up, and no one's gonna be able to understand you, and you're just gonna have to deal with always being a special nobody somebody. It's kind of difficult to explain, and especially if I don't want it to drag out to like.
No, I actually get what you're saying, but let me ask you this: why do you think that you were getting high? Was it? I mean, because there's a definite there's a definite process why we get high, why we drink, why we do coke and stuff. It's like what we're doing is we're artificially trying to alter our state. Do you know what I mean? And the reason why we're trying to alter our state is why? Because for the most part, we're not happy with the state that we're in, And so we're searching for something and stuff. And when the real situation is that when we search within and we start to really look at what's going on, what do I feel, what do I not feel, what am I afraid of, and we start to look at that perspective in a real way, I think the whole everything changes. Are you saying that you're so you do know that I'm an atheist, right?
Yeah, man, I'm very well aware. I've heard the conversations, but
okay.
Hey, man, nothing but love and respect.
Right, but you do understand the process of what has got me to that point as well, right?
I guess I can't entirely say that. No. I just know when you get into it that you explain like some things that.
Well, here's my thing. What I want to say, and I don't want to question your faith or nothing. But first of all, let me say this. Sure. Thank you for support. Thank you for supporting the project. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for giving me the opportunity into your life, because you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just. People can be closed off and they not think that certain people are worthy of their time. And so I want to say first and foremost, I really appreciate you allowing me to come into your life and kind of just, even if indirectly being a part of that. Right. So.
Oh, for sure, man. Hey, man, I got all the gratitude right here, right back at you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. And so, we're all at a different place in terms of our evolution. My only real concern is that I always want the progression to be forward. I always wanted to move forward, and I don't mean that. I don't want it to seem as though, I'm not.
Man, go ahead, say it. I totally
it's not that I don't understand. I understand, but and I'm not really holding back. My point is just really that I'm in a situation where I got to that place because I want to believe as much of true things as I can possibly believe, right? And when I say that, so when somebody says that they're an atheist, right? I'm not saying that I know for sure that there's no God, right? That's really not an atheistic claim. The claim is that I don't have I haven't had enough information to give a positive claim to that. So, there being a God is a claim, right? And
I would say absolutely.
right. So the same way somebody would say, and I know this is no disrespect to you or anybody else that's religious. Like if I say there's a tooth fairy, right? I'm making a claim that there is something out there that I'm making that claim. Or now, if I make that claim, then who, if I ask you this, who has the burden of proof that exists? You or me? Like if I make the claim that there's a tooth fairy, who has to prove that there is a tooth fairy?
Well, I guess it depends on the conversation, but I think what you're getting at is that it would be on you because you're the one with the claim.
Right. Anytime, and this is just basic logic. So I wanted to cover this because I feel like people don't really, like school really doesn't teach logic, and it's even in higher levels, people don't really teach logic. So anybody who has the claim, that it is their responsibility to provide the proof, right? Because it's something as absurd as there's unicorns, or even better. Let's change the claim. Let's say I got a dragon in my I got a fire-breathing dragon in my basement, right? If I make that statement, right, it is my responsibility to prove that, because there's a propensity of things to believe because of the fact that, like, if I tell you I have a dog, right? That claim is not so extraordinary that I have to have huge and exponential proof of that, right? Because we know that people have dogs.
Everybody got a dog. I got you.
Right. But if I say I got a dragon, and you go, what do you mean you got a Komodo dragon? I go, no, I got a dragon, like Game of Thrones dragon in my basement.
Yeah, I got a myth in my basement.
Right. Fire-breathing, gold scale having magical dragon that flies. That claim is so extraordinary that there's a certain amount of proof that I need to provide. Like I either gotta, I would show you pictures, and even if you show me a picture, I probably would want to see this. I want to see this dragon.
Man, pictures don't mean nothing these days.
Right, and even if you show me pictures, and even if you went and I saw it, I'd have to, like, I really got to go, man, is this a lizard, or is this a what? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like an extraordinary claim.
Yeah, like,
right?
what am I actually looking at, right?
Right, and then, but I mean, even if you showed it to me or whatever, that would be at least that would be a reasonable kind of focus on whether. And now here's the thing: I think we don't look at religion or like belief in God in that way, because we have there's a perception of the fact that there's that God is a thing, that it's a concept that we accept as humanity, right? And but if we think about not even maybe like the whole we talk about the Judeo-Christian kind of thing it's only 2,000 years old, Like, I mean, we're talking about historically. And prior to that, people believed that lightning came from Thor, right?
Well, a lot of people believed a lot of different things, yeah.
Right, but I mean, there was a time when Thor and him throwing lightning bolts was just as viable. It was just as viable as the Judeo-Christian belief of Christ and God and whatever, right? And this is going to be a weird way off. Like, if you told me you was in an orgy, right? And it's very possible that could have happened, right? And you could tell me there was a guy there. There was one guy there, and he had an 18-inch dick, right? Just because you were at the orgy, just because a dude had a big dick, right, doesn't mean he had an 18-inch dick. So do you feel what I'm saying? Like, it could have been 9. It could have been
over
10.
There like, right, I see what you're blowing smoke or just what's the word? You're ostracizing it.
It's hyperbolic. You're being hyperbolic.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
So
you're
do you
saying it's way more
so
than,
my thing
you
is
know.
when the way I got to where I am with this is Ace actually, if you've been listening to me, you know I talk about being
Oh
authentic,
yeah,
being credible,
authenticity,
being
credibility, and the E one.
right, but it also means that you got to keep your word, and when you give your word, you need to it has to come from a foundation, from an honest and evidential foundation. So like if you know you can't do. If you got a kid and you tell your kid you're going to take him for ice cream, you don't promise him that he's going to have ice cream unless you know you can do it. Now, I'm not saying life doesn't happen, but I'm saying part of your credibility is to kind of say the things that you know and know the things that you say, and so really I got to this point because I didn't have enough evidence to make the claim that there's a God. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know people say, "Oh, he's worked in my life and he's done this and this," but
I get that too, yeah.
But things happen, and I had my friend. I've heard this. My friend was sick, and then he prayed, and then he and then he wasn't sick no more. I've heard that, and I don't know if you noticed, but we've actually there's studies that have been done where people have taken a control group, and these people prayed, and they found out.
I wasn't always a Christian, so I'm very well aware. Like I looked at all different types of things, so I know also a lot of the things where like people are just like they're really deep in their head, but they.
So let me ask you something. What made you go in that direction? Or what was the thing that made you believe that there's this God, or first of all, which God do you believe in? You believe in like the Judeo-Christian, all-knowing, all-knowing, kind, generous, is that the God that you believe in?
Well, simply, I'll just put like I'm a non-denominational Christian, so I mean I believe Jesus, the whole Jesus Christ, the whole Bible.
Okay. Do you believe? Do you believe?
That's the conclusion.
Do you believe the Bible is true, or is it symbolic, or is it both, or what?
I would definitely go it's definitely both because I mean even when you look at all the times that Jesus speaks, he speaks in parables. So I mean it's very. I mean, and on top of that, like when you start to do like more research into like the context of each of the books, like you see a lot of things are very metaphorical, but you got to dictate what is metaphorical. And
you also do you also see that a lot of it is contradictory?
It appears like that at first, and so that I would always seek wisdom from other pastors, but of course, like the ones that I'm, particularly involved with, and I would ask them to explain it to me, and then they would explain it in a way that's actually very consistent.
Okay, but is what makes them able to explain this when there's really no evidential proof? I mean, you do understand that you have to accept this concept based on faith, right?
Yeah, to where, you can find any more evidence that no longer supports like whether something is true or not in your book, But go on, I'm listening.
But I mean, so I mean, do you okay, so some guy who says I know or whatever, he says, hey, this is what it means. What you thought it meant, or your confusion is not, or the fact that it might just be a contradiction. He goes, I'm the pastor, I believe this, and da 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 da. Is there any evidential proof that they can give you to go, okay, it's not this, it's that? Do you understand what I'm asking you?
Yeah, you're what it sounds like you're asking me is what is the actual factual evidence that this stuff is historically accurate?
Yeah.
So some of the things that I have been brought up to is what it boils down to is the time and the eyewitness accounts of Jesus Christ and performing his miracles. Because if there's no Jesus Christ, then this. But
you do understand that there are direct contradictions about those miracles and who, like, you know, even in the resurrection, they, you know, I think Matthew says that there was 2 women that found found the body was gone, and then there's Peter says something else, and there's contradictions in that. How do you rectify those contradictions?
I mean, they might bring up like different details of like the same account, but to my knowledge, they're not contradictory.
Okay, but let me ask you this. If
Yeah, for sure.
if the Bible says that the women found the tomb empty, right? And somebody else says that they found the tomb empty. Those are 2 different claims. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, circumstantially, I mean, they kind of both found
No,
the
I
tomb
mean,
empty.
okay,
I mean,
all right.
but-
Let me do it like this. Do you believe in the story
sure.
of Adam and Eve?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you believe that God found Adam and Eve and made Adam. So you don't believe any evolutionary proof. You don't believe in
You
evolution.
said, hold on, you blurred out for a little bit. I don't believe. Are you saying I,
I
don't
said, do you believe in
or
evolution?
that-
Do you believe in evolution?
So look, I'm gonna say this. I read the Bible one time through. It took me about a year to do it, so I don't remember every verse for verse thing. But what I will say is that, you know, I got a really comprehensive way of looking at things. I believe both are true. If I was to die and it finally all made sense that, you know, whatever happens when I die, and it was all made sense to me, and both, you know, it all, like all the scientific details and, you know, theories that were onto something, and then the ones that blew smoke, like it all made sense. Like, I believe that there's room for Adam and Eve and evolution. You know.
Okay. All right. Fair.
I don't know how
and I want you to know
contradictory
I'm not putting. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm also
for sure, but I also don't want it to be like, bro, like you just like, do you even know what you believe in type of thing. But I mean,
No.
I
I really
want
to know.
Conversations, and I just.
Let me explain to you why I'm asking, because I really want to know what that thought process is, because I know how, because I grew up Catholic and I was an altar boy and I went to Catholic school, and I know what got me to the point where I don't believe it anymore, right? And I was just wondering that how does somebody fall into that or end up prescribing? I just wanted to know. I don't want to go too deep in it.
Well, I could answer that question because. That, like I said, there was a point where, I mean, I was actually just in the same boat as you. I didn't believe in any God, but then, you know, maybe you could also call it agnostic, because I believed in whatever's true, that's what I believe in, and that's what I want to know. So I would, you know, and I think you mentioned this too, like you started getting into like different spiritual practices. Like I started to mess with, you know, different like practices, and it didn't go too deep, but it got deep enough to where. So first off, I lived in a paranormally haunted house. Like there was a literal poltergeist in that house. And I mean, you could say whatever you want to say. I'm a big skeptic, dude, but there was enough for me to go like, this is some freaky stuff, and I'm not messing with it.
Right, but even if there's freaky stuff, right?
Okay, right, and I get that.
How do you go? Okay, well, this is out of the ordinary of what I'm accustomed to, but how do you put it on that? Okay, this is a poltergeist.
So there were voices coming from where there was nobody at, and there was no sound.
I get that. I get that. I understand that. I understand what that looks like. What I'm saying is,
and then also. There was also moving furniture, things being thrown.
Fair enough. What I'm saying is, how do you go moving furniture, poltergeist? How do you not go moving furniture, somebody with telekinesis? How do you not go moving furniture, an alien? How do you go moving? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? That there's different options. What makes you go to that particular thing?
Well, let's be honest. It could have been any one of those things, right, as far as I know. But what I do know is that
let me just say this. I really appreciate you saying that. Sure. To be honest, it could be any one of them. So what I'm saying is, what makes you go that and not something else?
There's clearly, I mean, unless there's some very odd scientifical like phenomenon that occurred right before my eyes that nobody could explain yet. To me, it's that there's a realm that's unseen.
Okay.
There's unseen things that happen that as much as I brought it up to people, this is paranormal. As much as I could do research up to my own evidential credibility, to what I mean is that it's credible to me.
Right.
That's paranormal, dude. And that to me that's as simple as I can get with those occurrences.
I get it. I
mean,
I get that because what happens a lot of times, I mean, that's kind of the way people move forward on in what they're talking about in the first. I mean, like they go, well, I didn't experience this, I experienced that, and so it's God, right? And
well, I mean that definitely didn't get me to God. That got me to
no,
do all
I'm not talking about the poltergeist. I'm saying the process is the. I mean, because some people go, I experienced this and I experienced that, therefore, Islam, and people go, I experienced this, and they go, Mormons. So you know what I'm saying? What is the thing that specifically point you other than that in that direction as opposed? I mean, somebody could go, I experienced this and I experienced that, therefore Thor or Zeus. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like what?
Yeah, for sure.
So what makes you go in that direction? Because what let me just give you my thoughts on this. Like I realized that the reason why I subscribed to a particular faith was because I was brought up in it. It was, my mother was religious, my father was religious. I went to Catholic school, and because I went to these things, I had all these situations. I had all these things that had already it had presupposed what my belief system was, and it was when I wasn't. And so what I would say in terms of the show, in terms of Ace, like for me, the extreme Ace is I don't believe nothing unless I have proof of it. And if I don't have proof of it, I'm not saying that I can't be in a situation. I'm okay at saying I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if I don't,
and I'm cool with that too. Absolutely, I heard that.
Yeah. And I just think that I mean there's so much that we could know that we have proof to, and that we have proof to, that we can learn and really understand the proof to it, to grab onto something that there is no proof to and make that leap, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That does make a lot of sense.
So, I mean, but real quick, man, I mean, you wanted to say something. I just was curious because you had mentioned that, and I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit, because I want you to understand something. Part of this show it's a learning process for me. By talking to you guys, I learn things as well, and it helps me to shepherd people into the life that they want to lead. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm asking questions. So, but
yeah, absolutely.
But is there anything you wanted to say specifically, or anything was on your mind, or you know?
Well, I mean, it's up to you if you want me to finish that thought of why I came to my faith, but that's not really that important unless it's something that's, you know, on your mind. I really just came to give you praise because, I mean, dude, even
I appreciate you, bro.
Like you said, like, oh, man, I'm mad appreciative.
And I want to say something. I appreciate your candidness in this, because I don't want you to think that I'm attacking you. I'm you know, I'm really curious. I don't think that you are, though. Yeah, I'm curious. I just want you to know I'm curious.
I just want to make sure I'm being as credible as I can.
Man, that's all I could ask.
On the spot thinker, so sometimes I got to sit there and think about things, and a lot of times that gets people to be like, you know, have a flaky conversation with me, you know, and it's just like, whoa, chill out. I'm not good at, answer this right now. Like, bro, I'm not being interrogated right now, so I also want to give that, like, you know, that forewarning, like, hey, man, give me a second to come up with the answers. I can't come up with everything. You know?
Yeah, and I get that 100%, man. But thank you for thanks for giving me my flowers, man. And I hope you keep listening, man, because I want you to understand. I want you to understand that I don't know everything either. I just want and to be honest, most of the things that I'm talking about are things that I made mistakes on my own. I mean, it wasn't like I was so infallible that I was just doing everything right, and because I was doing everything right, I had you know, like this is like I'm coming off. I want you to understand that the mistakes that I made, that's where the lessons and the stuff that I pass on. And so I just really want this platform to be a platform where we grow together and you know, and we help each other to grow together. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like I get that. I definitely get that sense from you, even from this conversation. So, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you being candid and just kind of opening up. I mean, it's just really dope. I love the fans here. I love the energy that we put out, and that kind of positive, and that kind of. I even see that a lot of the dudes in the comments, they connect and they start to know each other in a real way, and I think they help lift each other up too. So, man, it's just, you're a dope dude, Kev. Thank you, man.
Hey, good looking, bro. And I will say this, because, you know, a couple of things you've done in life kind of put me on to do things that I've always wanted to do, like martial arts, riding a Harley. I don't know if you ever play music, but another big thing is that I play
you know, it's funny. I don't know if you've been listening, but I bought an e-drum set. I'm trying to teach myself how to play drums now. So,
oh, that's killer, man. You'd make a killer drummer.
Man, thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kev.
Hey, blessings, brother, man. It's great to talk to you, Dante, man.
All right, bro. I appreciate you. Later.
All right, take care.
Yeah, man, that's dope. I mean, I didn't mean to go off on a fucking thing, you know. I wanted to just, you know, sometimes I mean, I want to learn from y'all. Let me shout everybody out who's in the comments real quick. 808 Presley, what's popping? Blacksmith, what's going on? I see you. Ahmed Al Nahir, what up, Ahmed? What's going on, bro? Lisa D, what's up, baby? How you doing? Trixie B, what guan? Dwight Christian, what's popping? Big shout to Brian Lorenzo, thank you for the Cash App, baby. Yes, we are. I don't even have to say it no more. I love it. $10 on the Cash App. Let's see who else is in here. Claudie Pierre, what's going on? I always get this name, JRZ Warner, Jerseyer. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a Jerseyer. Send me a message, the phonetic spelling. Brian L, what up, baby? How y'all? So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, this was on my mind. I was running around today and I was talking about the you know, and I've talked about this before, but fear is a stickler. Also, real quick, the phone lines are up, so if y'all need to come in, call in, don't hesitate to interrupt me, because what you guys have to say is more important than what you guys, the direction that I will say, what you guys and the way you're directing the first Jerseyer, is that it? Okay. The way, you know, I would rather talk to you guys about the stuff that you want to talk about, you know? So, that's what I love. I like the fact that this is, you know, listener directed and pursued. So, but fear is a really important thing. And I think what happens is I really been kind of, I mean, the ink, I always say this, the ink is still wet on this philosophy, but I really feel like a lot of times, and we were talking about this last Tuesday, how I don't think that people are particularly malicious. What up, Diego? What's going on, Diego McFly? What's popping, baby? What I mean is that what you find is people are so afraid, and because they're afraid of something, they act in a way that is perceived as malicious or just shitty, you know, sometimes. Also, the Cash App is up. And what I want to, Cuidando Normal. What up, baby? So I, you know, what I want to say is that a lot of times people are afraid, and that fear takes a different twist sometimes, you know? What I mean by that is, sometimes, I don't know if anybody's ever heard the terminology imposter syndrome. It's like you're in a position where certain things are happening and you are considered a certain person, but you really don't think that you're worthy of whatever you're getting or whatever you're receiving. And because of that, we have a tendency to be afraid to be exposed of something, exposed of, but we don't want to get proven to not be the person that we say that we are. And so we're willing to do anything to maintain that. So, and what happens overall is there's this constant fear of when is somebody gonna figure me out. It's a crazy kind of situation where when people are afraid, they're afraid to be exposed, and they will do anything. They will do anything to stop that. They will do anything to not be exposed. So when you have people who are perpetuating a particular, and I've seen this even with guys who have actually paid consultations with me, where they doing consultations and lying about what it is that they're what's really going on. They're literally lying about how they how they perceive themselves and what they think and what they are. Don't forget the one-on-one consultations, DanteNero.com. Stop playing. If you got the problems, come on, let's talk, let's fix it. Also, if y'all need to, the PayPal is at Modest Guru Inc. So check that out. And phone number, to call in is this. What I mean by that is that not to become exposed, people will do anything, and a lot of that is malicious in nature. And so when you present yourself as being a certain person, but you are not, your actions are incongruent with those declarations of what you say you are. That becomes a real problem in that you are presenting yourself. You know that people are going to receive you in that way. I mean, initially it's like, do people even believe what I'm saying? But then once they understand what you're saying, then the question is, do they believe me? Do they believe that I'm really the person that I say I am? And I think sometimes we're not. There's sometimes that we fall off, but what you want to be is, at the very least, you want to be the person who is most like the person you say you are. What's your name? Where you calling from, family?
My name is Lloyd. I'm calling from Washington State.
What's going on, Lloyd? Thanks for calling in. How can I help you, brother?
No, it's just a simple shout out to you. I mean, big time listener, and just even listening to, I guess I could call it a philosophy, if that's the correct term.
Yeah, I would say so.
No, man. No, it is, and it's completely changed my life, even from little things to big things to things that I was scared about, like taking up martial arts and like not being afraid to fight or have conflict, or just like, I gotta say, it feels like you've done it all. So it feels great to have.
Thank you, man. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you something. It's like, you don't even understand how much. Like you and Kev and people, like when y'all give me a call and it feels like I'm just not throwing money down a bottomless well, that I'm actually making a difference in people's lives. And I mean, and what, when you think about it, what's better than that? The fact that I got a guy in Washington, I've never even been to Washington State, and the fact that I can affect your life in a positive way is dope. And even to the point where I can affect your life in a way, and you give me the honor of calling in and saying, man, thank you. This is what's going on. This has changed my life. You know what I think is really odd is how, when you practice these principles, how easily your life starts to change, and how quickly and how easy it starts to change. Can you speak to that, please? I don't know if you can or you can't.
Absolutely. Number one thing is even little things like getting your appearance right and being just comfortable in your own skin and just stepping into that uncertainty. It might seem pretty small, but it was a pretty big step for me. So you get to give a little bit of your personality before you like talk to people,
Yeah.
and they get to know you. And it's also being like doing the martial arts, starting something, being like afraid, but you, like you mentioned before, you go ahead, you step into that moment, and you don't sit there for a long time, and you move. And as long as you keep moving and keep stepping up, you can always get better.
Yeah.
And just even like the approach anxiety of like because depending on where you are, who you're talking to, you might be talking to a lot of women. Like I work in like a clinical setting.
Right.
So like it's a pretty woman dominated profession. So like you go from like, hey, like conversation about, hey, how you doing?
Right.
To like just being more comfortable.
Yeah.
But the moment that you start applying this philosophy is the moment that your life starts getting better.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. I appreciate you, man. And I think what happens is how good does it feel to just not be afraid? Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying all the time it wipes all the fear away, but just to be in a situation where you don't think that the world is going to end because of the unknown. Like you're not sitting around like Chicken Little running around going, the sky is falling. I mean, it's such an awesome feeling to feel that you can actually live your life out of fear with really small principles. I mean, it's really, and don't get me wrong. I mean, initially when I started doing this, I mean, even when I started doing it with Patrice, I was working on myself first, but I don't know if I say this enough, but man, as a kid, I was scared to death. Like I was scared of my shadow. I was scared to fight. I was scared of women. I was scared to try new things. I was scared to speak my mind. I was scared. I mean, I was so, and a lot of that had to do with my father. You know, my father grew up in the Depression. My father was born 1920, right? And it's a very precarious time for everybody because during the Depression, but especially very precarious time for black people at that time. And so my father was very overly protective because he had a reason to be. Do you know what I mean? It was like just a rough time.
Yeah.
And what happens as parents, what we do is for the sake of keeping our children safe, we instill this fear in them, right? That ultimately becomes this unnecessary monster that's constantly growing, and it literally becomes paralyzing in terms of how we operate and how we move forward, you know? And I get the sense that you had that. I mean, I don't know how it came about, but I get the sense that you had kind of that same thing going on with this crippling fear, you know?
Yeah, just maybe a fear of failure, a fear of being perceived, a fear of failing myself because, like, how should I put it? Like, you can think of yourself being, like, with all these pretty little thoughts of, like, you are this person, but if you fail yourself in a situation, you know what I mean? Like, then you got to reconcile that moment with who you are now with who you thought you were, you know?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just seen people like fail themselves,
Yeah.
you know, like I've seen
Absolutely.
them like not live up to who they believe they are,
Yeah.
and they just carried that weight for so long
Yeah.
that and some of them, they don't come back from it. And I guess that was the greatest fear for me, was just like, if you don't try, then you don't fail, but you fail yourself when you don't try.
Absolutely,
That's who you
absolutely.
get. Yeah.
Because what ultimately happens is so I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about how as a young child, not as a child, but maybe like a young teenager, you know, I was so afraid, and the way that one of the things that I realized is that I mean, I don't expect everybody to be a physics major, but if you know, oh God, what is the principle? But it means the principle is basically things at motion stay in motion, things at rest tend to stay at rest. I think it's not relativity, not osmosis. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll look it up. But it's things that's at motion tend to stay. So, for instance, when you when fear is this load or this entity that affects you, the longer you take to move on it, to get past it, it's like a big boulder that's dropped in the sand. And the longer that boulder sits in that sand, the deeper that the boulder sinks into the sand until the boulder is immovable. Whereas when the boulder drops and it's bouncing, you can
gotta get it
actually
moving.
Yeah, you can actually deflect it. Like, you ever see you ever go to like a construction site and they'll have these 2-ton girders that they're taking up to the top of the building, right? And they'll have a guy holding it, a rope. There's a rope holding the girders. Does that ring a bell to you?
Is he standing on the girder? Is he holding it?
No.
'Cause I think I've seen
There's a
something
guy
like
on the
that.
ground. The guy is they're raising these 2-ton girders up, whatever, 10, 15 flights,
Oh.
and there'll be a guy who's holding a rope, right?
On the ground, so
On the
he's
ground.
like trying to move it.
Right, so it
to the-
doesn't
to the desired look.
right, so it doesn't swing or doesn't right, because the girders, even though the girders are 2 tons, let's say the guy is huge. Let's say he's big as me, he's 300 pounds, right? But those girders, 4 tons, 3 tons, 4 tons is nothing. There's no comparison. But simply because he has this little rope on it, he can keep it from swinging into the building and destroying things. It's because the girders are in motion. The minute you put those girders on the ground, that rope, and I don't care how strong that dude is, he ain't gonna move shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so fear is the same way. It acts as the same way. While it's in motion, you can move it with just a little bit of guidance. You can move it, or you can keep it from moving. You can keep it from swinging. You can also swing it and fuck shit up. But my point being is, when you have that fear, the longer you sit with that fear, when you let it sit in the sand and just sink in, it becomes so heavy and so immovable that you can't. That the fear becomes a situation where it paralyzes you. And so,
Can I ask a question about it though?
yeah, sure.
What about like prep time in order to ensure that you have the best outcome possible when you're thinking about that fear?
What about, what did you say? I didn't hear what you said.
Like time to prepare and try to come up with the best possible outcome to avoid the negative outcome. I know you're sitting in fear.
Right. I think you have to first practice moving first. I do think there's a situation where you can strategize or whatever not to, but I think you have to move first, because if you don't move, you can't move. Does that make sense? Like, understand something. You said people don't want to fail. Like, a lot of times people have this fear of failing, and what ultimately happens is, like you said, if you don't do anything, then you fail yourself in more ways than one. And so the ability to overcome the fear is the first thing that you have to pay. And understand something, you are going to fail. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm so happy that you're in a place where you're able to move in the face of fear. I always say that bravery doesn't exist without fear. It's not brave for you to do something that you're not afraid of. It's brave to do something that there is in the presence of fear, something you're afraid of that you push yourself beyond to kind of accomplish. So, you want to, but you got to first, if you've never really activated movement or change or something, you got to practice that first and understand something. Initially, you're going to lose. The real point of it is that you got to learn to lose. It's not going to be half as bad or even a third or even a 1/16 as bad as you think it is. You're going to make a mistake, and then and then you're going to figure it out, and you're going to make another mistake. And hopefully every time you make that mistake, it brings you closer. It brings you closer. But the fear is so prevalent, right? Because it's just about taking that first step, right? That you can't even access the intellect that you have in a situation where you might actually know how to approach it. Do you feel what I'm saying?
So essentially, fail forward, and when you do fail, like you said, you're able to go ahead and take all the variables and the information to maybe put yourself in a better place to strategize
Yes.
the actual situation versus the fantasy that you're creating in your mind.
Right, because the fantasy you create, the fear that you create is way worse than what it is. 90% of the time, it's way worse than what you. And have you ever heard me say, never let emotion have a seat at the table?
Yes, many times.
So when I say that, what I mean is because of fear, because of emotion, because emotion is just a fear. But all of these things, any emotion blocks your ability to be logical and to be forthright and to kind of use the intellectual prowess that you have because you have clarity of thought. It's not clouded with emotion where you can make better decisions. So you can access information that you wouldn't normally be able to access when you're afraid. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, which also speaks to the value of even more so about moving forward, so it can put you in a better spot emotionally. Okay.
Right. Well, because you've heard of the term fight or flight, right? So once the fear is there, you're not functioning. You are reacting. You are you're tapping into that animalistic, instinctual thing that is been built in our DNA. You know, we were talking about evolution and stuff. That's built into the DNA. That when we're in a situation where we are, there's a perspective, a threat of death or harm or physical harm or whatever, or predators, or it's a mechanism in the brain that reacts, and we react, and we can't really access our conscious thinking. So even if we do have the answer to the solution, a lot of times we can't access it because of the emotion that's present. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to move forward, knowing that we might fail and still move forward and to manage the fear. Are you a boxing fan at all?
I do Muay Thai.
Okay. So
I mean, there's an appreciation for hands, though.
Okay, so here's Muay Thai it's great, the great point. Here's my point. If you do Muay Thai, you're going to get hit, right?
Every time.
That's an amazing answer. The fact that you said every time, because yes, every time. You train, yes, to inflict, to be able to master punches, kicks, and throws, elbows, whatever, so that you can inflict pain strategically. But the fact that you have accepted this is how dope it is. You have accepted the fact that by going into Muay Thai that you are going to get hit, right? And
thank you.
Your ability to get hit, right, and still maintain composure, right, is exactly the reason why you train. Yes, we learned to master the techniques and stuff like that, but you have to get to the point where you can get punched in the face and still maintain composure and still fight. Like, that's what boxing is on first and foremost. You know that saying that Mike Tyson says, it's everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face? Because if you get punched in the face and you turn away from it instead of maintaining your guard, maintaining your footwork, maintaining your balance, then you're going to get knocked out. So you have to think consciously and sit in the fact that somebody's punching you almost as if it's not happened or is close to it not happen, in order for you to access all the hours of training that you put in, and that all the exercise and hitting the bag and kicking the bag and sparring and all that. You got to be able to access that in that moment. And if you let emotion take over, you're not going to be able to function at all. The thing where something might be as easy as you slipping a punch or putting your guard up or being able to leg check a low kick or something. Those are things that you have to operate in while in the fight in real time while somebody's trying to hurt you. Like, conceptually, I don't even know if you understand how deep that is. That a guy goes in a Muay Thai ring, or especially in a Muay Thai ring, and a guy gets hit up in the face with an elbow and still maintains composure. Because if it goes to shit, you're gonna get knocked out. Am I right?
You are right.
So the when you're saying the question you're asking is managing the emotion is the thing that allows you to react in a real way, so that your outcomes are more favorable, and they stay more favorable overall. And when you really learn to do that, then it's really when you become unstoppable. I don't know if anybody's unstoppable, but man, you'll definitely get more wins than you get losers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else?
No, that was it. Thanks for the advice, and just wanted to give you a shout out, and thanks for everything you do.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you, love, all right?
Yep. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Phone line's open, 929-269. Cash App is open. Give me some money. Brian L. He put something in the chat, and I'll answer this real quick. Brian L. says, any advice on feeling shame or disappointment, especially with following through with your advice? Yeah, that's a great question. The answer is this. You're going to fail. Like, we're all going to fail. What's up, Dwight, Christian, and Keisha? What's popping? What's popping, Walter, White? What's going on? JR's in the building. Angela, what's up, mama? So understand that you're gonna fail, that you're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. We all fail. Two things that you will have to do for the rest of your life as a human being is ask for forgiveness and give forgiveness. You will make mistakes. You will never be perfect, because as we move closer to perfection, perfection moves further away from us. What I mean by that is as we perfect our techniques and who we are as a person, and we become closest to truth, we realize that things are more evolved. If you ever see, the analogy I use is if you look at a piece of Swiss cheese from 10 feet away, you can see the big holes. But as you bring the cheese closer to yourself, right, you see that there's even smaller holes. And as you come closer and closer and closer, you see that the cheese is actually porous, that there's nothing but holes in it, that it's almost translucent to a certain extent, that light comes through, and in some places, small holes that you couldn't even see from a distance. So as you get closer to perfection, perfection moves further away. The state of perfection moves from away. So it's unattainable. But just because it's unattainable doesn't mean that we don't pursue it. We pursue it with the intention of reaching it, even though we'll never reach it, because perfection is it's unattainable, but it's also infinite. But God knows that when you as you get closer to it, your life gets easier. The decisions you make get easier. Your everything is easier. And so so that's my thought process on that more than anything. It's just, and the shame you feel is what shame? The shame that you're human? That there's billions of human beings that are making mistakes and dropping the ball and fucking up and saying the wrong things and doing the wrong things and making mistakes and the condom is breaking and you know what I'm saying, any number of things that are happening every day. It is, understand something, man. It is part of the human condition, and the fact that you make mistakes, the shame is how you frame it. The shame is how you frame it. You're framing the fact that I'm horrible, I'm a loser because I've made mistakes. And what you have to understand is everybody makes mistakes. Keisha's in the comments. Let me put this up real quick. This is an interesting comment too. Let's see, show it. Keisha says, that fear from my dad gave me debilitating anxiety, clinically diagnosed. Yeah, Keisha, I totally get what you're saying. It's a crazy thing. But what they do, a lot of times they do it out of love, because they have this debilitating fear, and so they institute it in us. But what you have to understand is that you get to make a choice about how you perceive these things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to belittle it to the point where it becomes a situation where I am not taking into consideration your particular situation and how debilitating it can be. But I do want you to understand that without a doubt, you get to make a decision about how you perceive the anxiety and the fear. You can and understand. So, I mean, people say win or lose, right? If you make the right decision, you win. If you make the wrong decision, you lose. I would like to reframe that is win or learn. Do you know what I mean? It's you put yourself out there. If you do all the right things, you win. But if the best part of it, the growth comes when you make the mistake. Because that's the learning process where you get to absorb and to create your intellect or create your knowledge in something so that you can make better decisions. So Keisha, I get it. I mean, I went through the same thing with my dad, and you have to reject it. I talked about this all the time is, it's sometimes when and I don't know, Keisha, if you want to call in and talk about it, if not, put a comment on this, but there becomes this kind of manic behavior, like when something is presented to you that creates anxiety. That's what I was talking about, that the anxiety the fear becomes so prevalent, it just grows and grows and grows until it becomes debilitating, like what you were saying. But we make a decision to follow through with that. And what I used to do as a kid, not really as a kid, maybe as a teenager and maybe in my 20s, I would go, big shout to Dan Meneses. Thank you for the $5 on the Cash App, bro. I appreciate you. But what happens is, as I used to say, armadillo, armadillo, armadillo. I would spin around twice and slap the floor, right? It was like a weird kind of thing. So if you can imagine, I'm in a conversation with something, and I get this fear, and then I go, armadillo, 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 I'd spin around twice and slap the floor. And I'd stand up, and then people would go, what the fuck? What just happened? And that's really the point, Keisha. The point is that by doing that, right, it stops the thought process. It stops everything, because even the person that I'm talking to, like, they're kind of weirded out, like, what the fuck just happened? But that's the thing that I need to slam on the brakes, so that as I start to get what I call the stinking thinking, where we start to go down that road, and we start to go down that road, and we get to the point where we start to, that anxiety and that anguish and that fear gets so prevalent, right? Doing something weird breaks the pattern. Because understand, this is all patterns. We learn, just like when you talk about the fears, learn from your dad, and you got to change that. Another thing I recommend sometimes, if you don't want to do something that extreme, is put a rubber band on your wrist. And then when you start thinking like that, pop yourself with the rubber band. Just pull it and pop it. Ping. And it makes you go, oh, shit. I mean, it's just a shock to go, I need to stop thinking like this. You don't have to hurt yourself. But, I mean, the other thing, armadillo is a thing that I used to do because it was just absurd. And it would, it was just absurd, and it would force me to stop my thinking. I would stop that kind of stinking thinking, and then I could change it and go, I'm not going to go down this road. And don't get me wrong, I mean, it's not something that's going to work right away, but I promise you, just like the way that you have debilitating anxiety and fear, it's learned. We learn to do that. We learn to be in that space. And if we learn to be in that space, we can unlearn it. Sometimes it takes a little bit harder. So I hope that's how it helps, Keisha. Get you a rubber band and pop yourself every once in a while. Don't do it so hard, because I don't want you to hurt your beautiful wrist, but understand something, that you're making a choice to go down that road. Ahmed, what up, brother? He has a question. Let me read this real quick. I didn't even look at it yet, so let me put it up. Yeah. Ahmed says, I have a question. How do you get a girl who doesn't know what she wants to start opening up? She doesn't know her likes or her dislikes. Say Wait, why did that go off? She doesn't know her likes or her dislikes. Say she'll just let me know at the moment if it doesn't if she doesn't like something. So I'm assuming that maybe you're do you like this or do you like that? I'm assuming that you're trying to get her to open up. I mean, the first thing is that helps somebody open up is the fact that they trust you. Number two, but even if they trust you, a lot of times they do not know how to communicate in a way that they can. They don't know how to communicate in a way to kind of communicate. That's a good point, Trixie. How old is she? But I've seen older women, and he said she's 25. Yeah, well, she's young, and so this is something that she hasn't had the thing. But this is also a point of contention that also puts you in a situation where you can really bring value to her life because of the fact that because she's 25 years old and you can teach her how to express her feelings and but the only thing with that is you're going to have to ask questions, and and what will happen a lot of times is people just don't even know how to answer those questions. I mean, a lot of people who will who I consult with, this is something that I ask all the time. I ask, what does happiness look like to you? What does it look like? If you could have all the things that you want, right? What are those? What would that look like? Big shout out! Thank you, $10 from Xavier. Thank you, bro. I'm glad I didn't see you in the chat, bro, but it's good to have you in. So her not knowing, and Ahmed is saying that he's saying she doesn't know how to communicate. Yeah, well, this is an opportunity for you to make really inroads into kind of understanding her and to build the trust, because if you there's nothing better than when you're a guy and you're with a woman and she can trust you and she trusts you to teach her something that she doesn't know. I mean, there's a connection to that. I mean, if a woman respects you in that way, it's something that's really special that is a foundation that builds a great relationship. So, you got to ask, what do you like? What do you don't like? I mean, how are you going to, one of the questions you can ask is, well, how are you going to navigate your life if you don't like? So you have to try different things, and what happens is I mean, everybody on this live and in the chat, I hope that I've inspired you to do things that you wouldn't do before, to try things that you've never tried. Last Tuesday we had a guy who called in and he said, man, he goes, until he started listening to the podcast, he had never gotten a tailor. I talked about this, about having your clothes fit you in a certain way and to have the clothes tailored, right? And then once he started having his clothes tailored, it's a different feeling because your clothes fit you to the T. A lot of times I talk about Harry will not wear a pair of pants unless it's tailored. Like, he's spoiled now. He's bougie, But what happens is there's a different feeling when you look good and when you feel good and you're clean and you're well-groomed and all of those things. It says to other people around you that you give a fuck about yourself, that you value yourself and you value how you look and how you feel and so on. And that gives off that is when I've talked about this a lot of time in male-female relationship. There's always this subtext. And the subtext is, how do you feel about yourself? Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of women who look great all the time and they hate themselves, but it comes from a place of insecurity. But when we're talking about things that you don't matter, that haven't mattered to you in the past, and then you develop a sort of need to take care of yourself, because nobody knows that you're getting your clothes tailored. It's not something that you announce. It's just something that you personally feel about. You feel good about it. And he said if you listen back to last week's live, he said that my wife will not wear clothes that's not tailored. And how did she learn that? She learned that from him. So it's really it's really an interesting thing how it you got to understand that in real relationships, sharing is the thing that builds the bonds, and I mean that in even in friendships. I mean, we a lot of times we can't be friends until I know where the bodies are buried. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm saying hypothetically or as a figure of speech. I guess I'm saying it as a figure of speech, but you know what I'm saying? When we've gone through something, when we've gone through things, what happens is ultimately we're able to have a trust for each other, because number one, we know that we're both not perfect, and we rely on each other for comfort, and that makes a big difference. So it's a great opportunity that she doesn't know anything, because it gives you an opportunity to teach. And you being teach, now that doesn't mean that you take it for granted that you teach and that this is this stuff is that you bring value to her life, but it's a great opportunity to share something that's really intimate. Walter White called in. He says, I don't know why, but yawning and stretching my arms and legs out would reset my anxiety. Downward thinking for a short moment, but long enough to think right again. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, Walter. It's the same. What I'm talking about is the same thing. It's a distraction enough so that you can gain consciousness to change the direction of your thinking. That's it. I mean, I talk about snapping yourself with a rubber band. I talk about my armadillo, whatever it takes to stop you, because what happens is we get accustomed to this, what I call the stinking thinking, and once we start going down that road, it's hard to turn off. We just start to pick up momentum. So yeah, if it's yawning and stretching your legs and whatever it is, I mean, what is that? Armadillo. I mean, what is it but a weird way to stretch? So yeah, absolutely right. Ahmed says, yes, you're right. She doesn't know how to communicate emotions, and I'm trying bit by bit to share what I know. Yeah, that's all you can do. I mean, that's where the real intimate connection is. I mean, it's just not effing in the P, putting the D in the P. It's those intimate and human connections. I mean, that's where the love happens, you know. He says she doesn't know what she desires. Otherwise, I would need to ask here, but the analogy of trying out different things until you know what you do or you like makes sense. Just like a suit or right, you got to change. You got to try on stuff. You don't take everything that you try on. Some things fit and some things don't. Shout out to Kev in the chats. Trixie, get your answers through regular conversations. Yes. This is another thing. This is why I've always advocated, if you guys have listened to me before, if you're on these dating apps and whatnot, the dating apps is such that this is why I say you got to get off the dating apps. You got to get the dating apps onto a phone call, and you got to make a phone call, because whether you realize it or not, what you're doing is you're talking to this woman also to see if you like her, because she's going to tell you things about herself, but it creates the dossier so that you understand what she likes, so that when you go on that first date, you don't, like, if she's got a peanut allergy or she don't like shellfish, and then your first date is at the Lobster Emporium, your date is shot. You fucked it up, or at least you're gonna have to salvage it. If she says she doesn't like loud places, we had I'm trying to think who said this. I was talking to a young lady last night, good friend of mine, Ayana Duke, and she's older, very funny chick. But she was saying, she's turning 40, and she was like, her girlfriend is gonna come, and and she doesn't like these loud, crowded places, especially if she's going out on a date, because she's like, I'm going on a date. I want to get to know you. If it's a loud, crowded place, how am I going to talk to you? How am I going to get to know you? And she was very candid. She was like, look, I've already swiped on you. I'm trying to give you the pussy, but you won't let me. It's what she said. You keep trying to push away from letting me. I'm trying to give you this pussy, but you keep fucking it up. That's an interesting. Let me see. Otherwise, I would need to ask her. Trying different years. So when you're having that conversation, you should be listening and paying attention and understanding what her likes and her wants are. And if she doesn't know, you should be asking these things. And if she doesn't know anything, that's great because it leaves you wide open to try different things. P. Swizzle says, do you remember Kathy from the first couple of episodes of Black Phillip show? You and Patrice liked her for a while on the show. Yeah, we like everybody for a while, and then we, Kat was out of her fucking mind. She was also super smart, too. Like, she was Mensa, which I believe Mensa is genius level thinking. But sometimes you find people who are so intellectually smart that they can't function in real life, like because the social aspect of their interactions is just so ridiculous because of the fact that they don't think in the now. They're always doing calculations in their head. But yeah, I remember. I really don't give a fuck, but yeah. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. Kevin DeMaker says he started taking salsa classes, did not know it was so technical. Oh yeah, I got to give you your flowers. Plus it's mad intimate, very intimate. I always say that salsa and tango and a lot of Latin dance, partner dancing is the absolute best model for relationships. The woman gets the style and what they call flash and boop, 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 and they get to show how, to kind of show off their beauty. The man creates the platform for her to show off her beauty, but he's really the one that's directing the movement, not just to kind of show her off, but to also be in a situation where he keeps her from running into a wall. I've been in salsa where people are spinning people, and I remember somebody spun, like threw a chick, and she spun and she spun into the mirrors and broke the mirrors and got cut up. So you gotta, it's a really good metaphor for a great relationship where the man is giving a strong lead, where his lead is strong, but it allows her to express her creativity and her beauty in the context of the dance. Now, Kevin, here's the key to the salsa shit. I'll give you the big: practice your basic. Practice all the basic elements, the fundamental elements. And I mean, this is when it comes to anything. That is actually one of the reasons why when I talk about laying the 5 bricks, it's the first stage. You have to maintain this first stage to the point where you're literally bored about it. Laying the 5 bricks, you have to be bored about it until you move to the second stage. Because if you haven't figured out the first part, what ultimately happens is when you move to the second part, it gets complicated and you can't function. So when you're having a conversation, because then the fear sticks in and you can't function. And once, like we said this earlier, when you let fear have a seat at the table, then you can't function. So, wait. Oh, you're trying to call through the Ryan? You can call through. Try it again. I maybe didn't see it. So that much people. If you scan it and come out, keep an eye out for it, Ryan. If you're trying to call in, but you can call me through the fucking the number. If not, Ahmed says thank you, everyone. This answered my questions. All right, brother. Good to hear from you, Ahmed. Always a pleasure. Phone lines are open. 929-269-4922. Let me make sure this thing is set up. If you can try to call in, I don't know, Ryan, if when you scan the QR code to call through the web, what is happening? Give me a message. But yeah, the Cash App is up. You know what it is, and the other app is the internet call. I mean, I haven't really been doing the internet call. Yeah, there we go. My man. Let's see. Ryan, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Oh, wow, that's clear. That's the first time I've done. What's going on? How can I help you, bro?
I don't know if you remember me. It's Rye from Madrid. So I called
What's
you
going
a while
on, man?
ago.
How you been?
Yeah, I've been all right, man. On the subject of like honesty and fear and all of this stuff we're talking about, through my journey of like, just trying to be better and also, trying to lay the brakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just hit a wall, and I have to admit that I just hate my body. Like
Okay.
I'm 5'6", 115, bald. Like I've done all sorts of stuff to try and change it. But I guess I just have to accept that like
Wait a minute.
this
You
is
five,
gonna
how much
be
do
who
you
I
weigh?
am. 115, believe it or not.
So when you say you've done all types of stuff, what have you done?
So I'm currently working with a personal trainer to do like weightlifting, and
Yeah.
then I've also been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 3 times a week for like the last 8 years.
Okay, let me ask you this. What does your trainer have you doing?
Of like everything, man. Like bench press, deadlifts, squats, pull-ups.
Okay, let
working
me
with
ask you this. Is he
kettlebells and
doing
shit.
are you doing any HIIT? What they call HIIT? Do you know what HIIT is?
Nah.
HIIT is a program. It's called high intensity training. What you're gonna do is now look. I understand you're 115 pounds, right? So it's lifting heavy weight. So I'll explain the concept. I mean, because I do know about this. I worked out with HIIT for a while, and I went for, if y'all ever go on my my Twitter, my X, right? Look at the profile picture on my X. I think I'm doing an 800-pound squat on it, right? And I couldn't always do that, which is interesting. It's something that, but what happens if you go online and go look at HIIT, I'll give you a quick and brief breakdown of it. You're doing 80 to 90% of your maximum, right? For low reps, high intensity with very little rest between it, okay? So let's say if you're doing let's say your bench press is 100 pounds, right? You're gonna do 90 pounds for 5 reps, right? And you're gonna do that. You want to pick a weight that you're gonna fail at 5 reps. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And what you do is you do that. It's high intensity because basically what you're trying to do is you're going to stimulate your body, the muscle growth, right? And the only way that you can stimulate the muscle growth is by, you have to put your body into a state of stress where the body goes, oh my God, this guy's trying to kill me. I need to put muscle on to strengthen the skeletal structure. Let me see. You're online right now, right? Are you on you on a desktop?
No, I'm on my phone, but I got my desktop closed.
All right. Well, don't. When you get off, Google Mike Menser, right? Or just Google HIIT training, right? Heavy duty training. Okay.
Okay.
That's the techniques that they used to I don't know if you ever followed any bodybuilding, but like Dorian Yates and all of these mega super good. Now don't get me wrong, those dudes were doing steroids too, but also in addition, but the way that they were doing, they were lifting so heavy that the body was forced to grow. And even I don't care how small you are, I don't care how light you are, I don't care what it is. If you have that intensity, your body will, because you got to understand, your body either adapts or it dies. Do you understand? So I remember doing, my best squat ever was like a 930. I did like a 930 squat. But when you pick that weight up, Doug, you feel like you're going to die. Like when you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. but that is the time of intensity you need to have your body to force your body into growing. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think like what I'm more concerned with is like the psychological impact, right? Because like, I mean, I've always been the small guy my whole life, right? And so like I've been teased and bullied for it, right? But
Yeah.
I think in the back of my mind, like, all right, let's say I take myself to the max, right? I max out everything. Something in the back of my mind thinks that even with I'm with a high quality woman, she'd look at me and she'd be like, yeah, I could still do better, you know?
Dude, how much did Prince weigh?
Probably like 89 pounds. I don't know.
Right, and nobody was like, "Oh, I could do better." Do you understand? So this idea of the fact that you think that this stuff matters. Now let me not say that, because absolutely it matters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
And I think
also-
that's the reality I'm facing. It's just like, all
Yeah,
right,
no, it
this
doesn't
is
matter.
who
I mean,
am.
everything matters. It matters if you're too tall. It matters if you're good looking. It matters, but it all can affect you in a positive or a negative way. That depends on how you do it. I mean, Prince was he had a little girl body. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't matter, man. He posed some of the baddest bitches ever. You know, but it was the confidence in which I remember watching. I remember him almost like he was on The View. And Sherry Shepherd molested him on fucking, you know, it's just like, would you make love to me? Like, it's great. But he was a little dude, you know? So this idea of the fact that it could be somebody else but not be you, it's just not true. How's your jujitsu going?
Oh man, I'm so bad. I've been a blue belt for like the past 7 years.
Yeah,
so.
man, but what do you think is stopping you from moving up?
Just, I mean, the fact that I run out of gas, man. Like, I'm always fighting these like bigger dudes. So it's like when I finally get the edge of, you know, that point where I have to attack, I just don't have any energy. Like I can barely lift myself up.
Well, are you doing the cardio? Are you skipping rope? Are you running?
Yeah, my cardio is fine. It's just like, I think it's just after handling so much force and pressure, just like your body gets tired, you know?
Yeah,
like I can recover after a while, but like if you're rolling, then, you know,
But
you're
you
in it.
do understand the whole point of it is not to expend the energy; it's to maintain the calm and relaxedness in it. So you must. So, and tell me if I'm wrong. When you're rolling with these bigger dudes, do you have high anxiety?
I mean, I'll be honest, Dante, I've had high anxiety like my whole life, so
Okay, all right.
that's just it. But I do approach it from being calm and blank and using technique more than anything. But again, it's just at the end of the day, it's physics, right? It's just like
Yeah, it is
you're
physics, but,
handling.
but you do understand if you have that anxiety, that's where the exhaustion comes in.
I mean, I've definitely thought about that, right? Because when you expend a lot of mental energy, that affects the body as well.
Well, it's not just the mental energy; it's the tension. It's the tension
Yeah.
in the body. Can you roll from? I know people think I'm crazy because I'm talking about this in technical terms, but can you roll from the bottom? Can you fight from the bottom?
Dude, that's all I fight. Like, I'm 100% defensive. Like,
But you understand it is you have to relax. The reason why you're getting the fatigue is because you're not relaxed. Because there's tension. You do know that, right?
I mean, again, I figured it was because I'm like small, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
yeah, but it's small. But if man, I knew a little dude. This little dude. He was, I mean, a little bigger than you though. Maybe 125 pounds. Was nasty. He was also he was a like judo practitioner, but because he was so little, right? His center of gravity was so under you. So when he threw you, you couldn't even see it coming because he was already underneath your center of gravity. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah, for sure.
But I have to imagine. What does your instructor say? Does he talk about your tension a lot?
Honestly, I've just never brought it up because, I mean, again, my whole focus while I'm rolling is just to survive. So it's just like
all right,
not to
well,
get hurt,
okay,
you know.
Okay, all right. So here's my thing. Here's my thing. You're paying. Yeah, I bet you're paying a nice penny to do this, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say so.
So if you have a question, man, ask. Why would you not ask?
You know, I'm that kind of person who just like learns by doing it. So it's
That's
like
bullshit.
I don't.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
dog.
probably
You
is
gotta
bullshit.
ask.
I just yeah.
Ryan, you
I
gotta
don't know.
ask. Like that's what you're paying for to ask. If you think do you think there's anything that you're doing that he hasn't experienced with students before? You think you're the first small frame guy that he's ever trained?
Probably not.
Right,
but,
probably definitely not. And you think that
yeah.
you think that there's how long has your instructor been training BJJ?
Well, I've got two different instructors, but the one I interact with most probably over like 15 years. Yeah.
Okay, so you there's nothing you're probably going to ask him that he doesn't understand. And if you ask him, did you ever ask him why do you think you're having such a hard time progressing?
It's kind of weird because like so he's actually my English student, so like we talk about jujitsu a lot, and just the things we talk about like technique and the philosophy and everything like
But
that.
did you ever ask him why he thinks that you're not successful, that you're not progressing?
Never like directly.
Okay.
No.
Do me a favor. Next time you go to class, you ask one. Next time if you can, get in contact with him after this. Are you in Madrid now?
Yeah.
And what time is it there?
Like 2:30.
In the afternoon or at night?
No, at night.
In the and like 2:30 after midnight or 2:30 in the morning?
Yeah, 2:30 in the morning.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So tomorrow, when's the next time you're gonna see him?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Okay. So Tuesday you go see him. I want you to ask him why you're having such a hard time progressing. What does he think the problem is? I guarantee you he has an answer for you.
All right.
And then okay. So just so we know, everybody that's on the live today, understand this. I'm heading out. I'll be on the road, so I won't be live on Tuesday. But I will be back next Sunday. Next Tuesday I'll be back live again. Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure I went live today. Okay, so Ryan, make sure I want you to call in. I want to talk to you next Tuesday. Okay.
All right, for sure.
I guarantee you he knows what's going on, and he knows where you're making the mistakes. Okay. But you gotta, this plan to survive, you're never gonna get good at it like that. You're gonna have to take some risk, and if you take some risk, I guarantee you're gonna get like this is just like laying the 5 bricks. You understand? It's like initially
Yeah.
you gotta, but you have to confront it in real way. You can't do it.
What?
You can't lay the 5 bricks from home. You gotta go out in the street.
Yeah, and I think like, and I guess this was like the real point I'm trying to get to is that like all of this stuff, whether it's laying the 5 bricks or jujitsu or whatever in life, like it comes back to like my perception of my body,
Yeah, but you
and I'm having trouble getting past that.
Now, did you tell your trainer that you want to put on muscle and you want to get bigger?
Well, I mean, again, I'm I'm not sure I can get bigger because it's like I'm
That's not what I
36
asked you.
already,
I
man.
asked
Like
you a specific question. Did you tell your trainer that you want to put muscle on and get bigger?
no, I mean, because my original goal was just to get fit for jujitsu.
Okay, you got to tell, man, Ryan. Jesus Christ. You're calling
Yeah, I
me.
know. I'm a
not your
piece of shit,
trainer,
I
bro.
know.
I'm not your BJJ teacher, and I'm not your trainer. I already fucking know. I guarantee you he's going to say that you're too tense. You know how I know? Isn't it interesting? It's sometimes it's what people say that gives you it alludes to what's actually going on. You said half the time I'm fighting from the bottom and I'm just trying to survive, right?
Yeah.
You're fighting scared, right?
Yeah, just like everything else in life, you know.
Well, how do you you're gonna have to try and win, bro. You're gonna have to try. Do you not know that you can that you can armbar somebody, or you can Monteleone, or you can key lock
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely like submitted people, but like.
All right, so
that-
then it's possible. It's technique, and I'll tell you what's the great thing about. Here's the advantage about you being a small guy. Your technique has to be super sharp. Because if somebody's stronger than you, a lot of times they can muscle out. I'm not going to tell you that size doesn't matter. I mean, when I used to do jujitsu, a lot of times a guy would get me in a rear naked, and if he wasn't big enough for stride, would just tighten my neck up until the lactic acid built up, and then he couldn't hold the choke anymore. You know? So I mean, definitely size makes a difference, but you gotta. I mean, stop playing safe. You know, you gotta put yourself out. Try to take some chances. When you take some chances, you'll be surprised what you can do. And when you have a question about something, or there's something, I mean, look, if it's anything that I have within my scope, I don't want you to think that you can't call me, but you got to call the people that are definitely in the, you know, that, you know, you're paying for lessons, and you're not asking your instructor. In fact, ask both of them. The one that's your English student and the other one. Ask them both. Because I guarantee you they're watching you and they know what the problem is. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I mean, I wanted to talk to you more again about like the mentality of all this, but I think that at the end of the day, it's just like, I don't think I can win at anything.
Why
And
not?
So that's probably why.
Why? Have you submitted people or no?
Yeah, for sure. But like,
so how could you say you can't win when you have won?
I mean, because they're all against white belts, man. Like,
Doesn't
you're supposed to win against white belts.
Do you not know those white belts could have fucking smoked you before you went in there? Before you became a blue belt? You know that the white belts could have smoked you?
For sure, and some of them have, even if I am a blue belt.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that you got some wins under your belt, right?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes what happens is when we're looking up at the people we want to be like, we never look down back to see how far we've come and what kind of progress we've had, and so it just seems like there's nothing happening. But Doug, if you made it a blue belt, then that is progress. Do you understand? And if you feel as though you're not progressing enough, ask the people that can help you. Okay.
For sure. And I think, like, again, you know, I'm not having any visible results with women, even though I'm trying to like put myself out there.
Are you laying the 5 bricks or no?
Man, I'm trying to, but I'm being very inconsistent.
That's a no.
Yeah.
Book a consultation, Ryan. Let's talk, because there's other stuff going on here. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure it out. So
yeah, but you can't figure it out by yourself. Just like you wanted to learn how to do BJJ, you had to get an instructor. You go to DanteNero.com and click on consult, bro. Let's talk this. There's other stuff going in, and I guarantee you there's some stuff that's going on underneath this, because it's the same theme over and over again. Okay?
For sure, and I know that, and I've been trying to work on it.
Well,
yeah,
let's hook up. Let's get it fixed. It's not hard. I promise you. I promise you. We can, whatever it is, we can fix it. Okay?
All right, appreciate it, Dante.
And I want to hear from you.
Shout out to the Man School family too.
Now remember, look up HIT, right? When you get off, go on YouTube, look up HIT, look up write this down, Mike Mentzer.
Right.
High intensity workout. Best way to put muscle on fast. And make sure you ask your BJJ guy, and make sure you have a conversation with your trainer and tell him what your goals are. Okay?
All right,
brother.
Sure.
And then we'll talk Tuesday. Okay?
All right, we'll do. Thanks.
All right, brother.
All right, bye.
Y'all know what it is. DanteNero.com. Click on consult. One-on-one consultations, please. Thank you. Don't forget the Man School Patreon is patreon.com/manschool202. Let me put the number up real quick because I'm getting ready to close. We've been up an hour and 40. God damn. Telephone's up 929-269-4922. Man, I love y'all, man. It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back here on a Sunday. Brian, you relate to this guy. Well, look, man, put in the consultation. We'll fix it. It's not that hard, bro. Really. I've done this for thousands of dudes over and over again, and it's really not that difficult. You just got to know where to push, where to pull, and where to figure out, okay? I mean, whatever. I understand, and I look at the chat, and the chat is supportive as shit. Brian, and that's it. If you're saying thanks for being brave enough to call in, you call your ass in here. Stop playing. The family wants you to talk, man. Everybody, we're supportive. We want to see people win. The dudes, the girls, everybody. We want to see each other win. That's the one thing I love about the content I put up. Please also follow me on the Dante Nero YouTube page as well, because I'm actually putting up more content on there, so that's cool. And follow me on Instagram also. Don't forget the Patreon. Y'all know what the Patreon is. Patreon.com/manschool202. That's the best way to do it. And also where you guys are controlling the actual direction of the Patreon. So whatever you want to talk about, you can, if you're part of the Patreon family, you can actually control the episodes that we do, which is awesome. And that was cool because I haven't done one of those web calls yet. What he did was he scanned this QR code, and he went right in through online because he's overseas. So, and everybody said it was clear as hell, right? Right, chat? It was clear. All right, let's get out of here, yo. Y'all know what to do. Follow, subscribe, hit me on the Cash App. The Cash App is still open. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. We will be back next Tuesday because I'll be on the road. Man, I love y'all, man. Hear that? Holla at me, man. If you need me, y'all know how to get me. One-on-one consultations, DanteNero.com. Click on consult. Peace. I'll holla at y'all.